As we welcome our viewers to This Week in Virginia, I must say this has got to be one of the most unique and exciting shows that we have done thus far. Just in the last week, I received a Facebook invitation from Bo Michaud to be on a program, a Facebook Live program, interviewing candidates for statewide office. And not only did I find that very informative, but I learned about the Virginia African Diaspora Committee. And I apologize for being one who's just now learning. But I thought, in talking with Angel Miner, my co-host, who's also just learning, that if the two of us didn't know that much about the committee, then we wanted really to get some of the leadership of the committee to come on and talk with us and tell our viewers about the committee. So Bo Michaud, since you're the one that I reached out to and you've helped to organize this today, would you introduce our other guest, and then let's get into some questions and answers.
Thanks, David. As you said, I'm Bo Michaud. I'm one of the members of the steering committee for the Virginia African Diaspora Committee, which is really a coalition just geared towards promoting the relevance, the presence, and the interests of members of the African diaspora in the Commonwealth of Virginia and beyond. I'm joined by some of my fellow steering committee members who I'll let them introduce themselves. But for quick, Eric, Philomena, and Ami are really kind of the backbone also of what we've been doing. We, the African diaspora, represent the newest, fastest growing group of Americans, just over 2 million first-generation African-American immigrants in this country, and really are looking to see not only nationally what's being done between U.S.-Africa foreign policy priorities and how the diaspora is being engaged there, but also interested in how candidates and elected officials are engaging the diaspora community in Virginia, specifically across the Commonwealth. And so we've been engaged, we've been working together. My mom, her home state is actually Virginia when she came to the United States as a refugee from Uganda. And so this issue's always been me. And I know that folks have been working on African diaspora issues long before me, especially Philomena and Eric and Ami. And so I'll turn it over to Eric to introduce himself first, and then we can go to Philomena and Ami.
Hello, David. My name is Eric Michel Sosuglo. I am an economist and banker by trade. I have a various spectrum of experience, and I worked in international organization, the federal government, and the private sector. Virginia African Diaspora Committee steering committee, which is like the sort of the governing body, very egalitarian governing body of our association. So I'll pass it on to probably Philomena or Amy next so that they can introduce themselves.
Thank you.
Amy, can you go first, please?
Oh, sure. My name is Amy Tadama. I am from Ethiopia, and I've been in this country for a very long time. I'm trying to be, I love the unity that African diaspora is working and introducing ourselves and what we're standing for, and that we are definitely a community that have been educated and serving the US, as well as we also part of Africa. So we will do whatever needs to be done for Africa. My background is I'm a financial strategist, and I've been working for American Express, World Space, and satellite radio companies. And it has been a pleasure to work with our team. It's a great team. And I'm sure Philomena will fill in on all the things that's missing, but we're very proud and we're working hard.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having us, the Virginia African Diaspora Committee. Each one of us on the steering committee is a dedicated American first of African diaspora descent. I came to this country years ago to go to school, I did my undergraduate at Rowan State University in Glasgow, did graduate studies at Howard. I'm a microbiologist by training, specializing in bacteriology and gram-negative aerobes. I worked at American Type Culture Collection in Manassas as a senior bacteriology specialist. Before I left that, because I was tired of being in the lab 24 hours a day. I'm a people's person. That's why also after graduate school in microbiology, I did an MBA. I majored on multinational corporations. And I used that to do what I'm doing now. I have always been involved in diaspora affairs, even before I became a citizen, with all elections. And we are a non-partisan group. But I found out I've always been involved in the national level and do my Virginia politics. But we found out that home is home. We call home now, our home state now is the Commonwealth of Virginia. So my fellow brothers and sisters from the motherland, we came together to put our minds, rub our minds together, so that our voice, collective voices in the Commonwealth of Virginia will be heard, so that we'll be part of the question, we'll be on the table, not on the menu. So when the menu is being discussed, we're on the table. Because according to the Census Bureau, recent immigrants, Africans, ethnic Africans, are the most highly educated with very high buying power, knows what time it is in America, get involved in political process, do vote. But what do we get from it? That's why we are rubbing minds to think strategically how we can be part of the system, how we can be in Commonwealth, be from Commonwealth, and proudly say, I'm from the Commonwealth of Virginia, so that they treat us how they are treating Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. Z, irrespective of where you came from originally. We are in the mix together. That's why we are together as steering committee members. There is no chair, co-chair, this chair, that chair. We are one voice, steering committee, pulling all our resources together. Because if we work together, which we are doing, the African diaspora in the Commonwealth of Virginia will change, will be a driving force in saying who becomes the governor, lieutenant governor, delegates. If we put our mind together, do get out the vote, and put our money also, because election is about people and money. Thank you very much.
Well, thank each of you very much. And my first question would be, when did the committee come together as a committee? It'll show some of my shame, perhaps, that you've been around longer than I knew, and that. But how long have you been together as an organization here in the Commonwealth?
All of us here were involved in the national election 2020 as African diaspora nationally. But we found out that our politics is local. The national one is very global. So after the election, you have to exhale, because the election was a tough one. So we gave everybody time to take in, not to involve them immediately, see families and all that, because we worked around the clock. We came together. I will call A will call B will call C. We came together from different countries in Africa, where the steering committee is not the three you're seeing here. We have people from all parts of Africa as the steering committee. Some of them are, working to put food on the table. We came together and decided our politics is local. I think we will make better impact if we get a grip of our home state, the Commonwealth of Virginia, which is one of the first states in the Union, which is where the first ship that came from Africa landed. So African diaspora has to make an impact in the political space in Virginia, because we have to get, some of us run for political office. It doesn't have to be at the Hill or the state board, the school board, and other things. We have to get involved. And you know, there are first and second generations Africans also that are here. We have to get them involved. So we are speaking with one voice this time, and there is no division. It's a tight-knit family.
Okay, my co-host for this entire year and on beyond this time is Angel Minor, who's also from Virginia. And Angel is a senior at Virginia Commonwealth University. And I want to defer to her because she has some questions that she'd like to ask. Angel?
Thank you, and thank you all for being here. My first question is a little bit about your background. Some of you touched on it a little bit, but why did you join this committee, and what are some noteworthy projects that you worked on?
I can start us off. I've been.
I think you froze, Bo.
Moved to Virginia in 2013. I've had the opportunity to work in Congress, in local government, at the White House during the Obama administration, and have been able to see kind of the impact of politics on a local level, and oftentimes the missing voice of some of the most larger populations in this country. And I got to meet Philomena during the Biden campaign over this past year, and we definitely shared a lot of the same values of uplifting the African diaspora community. And I think that as an example of what happened in Georgia with record turnout of the African diaspora community, what's been happening with all the groundwork that's been laid by folks who came before me, like Philomena, Ami, and Eric, it was imperative for me to want to continue to uplift the voices of the African diaspora community, especially from the region of where my family comes from, and be the voice not only for East Africa, but as Philomena suggested, also be the voice of kind of a one Africa approach on the African diaspora community, and see the impact we could have in Virginia. And so wouldn't miss being a part of this organization for anything.
Well, I guess I will continue on that. I've been here for a very long time. Actually, I went to school in Boston and I moved to DC. A whole lot of us since 1980, in the 80s, early 80s, a whole lot of immigrants from Ethiopia came to the United States because of the military regime that we had. And since then, I've been involved in the local politics, in the Ethiopian politics side, because there's no voice, even though since we're not united enough to give voice, I wanted to work on the unity of African in general in the diaspora area in Virginia and Maryland, and hopefully we will expand it nationwide. And our voice needs to be heard instead of an outsider giving information to the United States, either whether it is the state or the Congress. We each have voices that can be authentic, real voices to say what's going on in each of our countries. So you'll be aware, the politician will be aware of making judgment calls in any issues that will impact the African countries. So that's what got me involved. And I knew Philomena for a long time. And when she called, and I was gladly involved because this is something that I really was looking forward to work with. And I'm glad I met Bo and Eric, and it's going straight. We have a lot of great people working very hard, and we really truly work as one voice. So I'm happy to be part of it.
Thank you.
Very well. So like so many of us in the steering committee and and on this call today. I came to the US about almost 20 years ago to go to grad school in New York at Columbia University, and I studied public administration. So my path has been geared toward, international organizations and the public service back and forth, and I sort of kept, connected to my country. I mean, where I came from, which is the African continent, through working in international development, because a lot of the projects in international development, are geared to, toward Africa. And so how I came about the committee in particular, I was part of the general election, of a committee to support a candidate who, without saying too much, successfully won the last presidential election. So even though we are, we are not, don't have a political color, and so this committee is kind of a subsequel of being on that national committee. And since I've been residing in Virginia for 10 years now, since 2010. No, 11 now. The pandemic made me lose my sense of time. 11 years now. It was natural for me to come together from African of all origin and try to impact the local politics, which the previous administration revealed the importance, particularly to me and to so many Americans.
My last question is, how can people join the Diaspora Committee? Can people join?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're a very inclusive group. You can definitely follow us on both Facebook. I think David is a part of the group, and also on Twitter, VA Diaspora, at VA Diaspora. We are fortunate not only to be a part of, immigrants from different parts of the continent, whether that's East Africa, West Africa, Central Africa, or South Africa. But we're also located across the Commonwealth. We have a good amount of folks from Northern Virginia. We have a good amount of folks from the Richmond Hampton Roads area, and we have folks even from Wise County in Southern Virginia. And so anybody who's willing to and wants to join, feel free to please do the Facebook group and join, and we'll continue to promote all of the events and the meet and greets with different candidates that we're doing before the primary, and then also subsequently afterwards as well.
Also, to follow up on Bo, Africa is an open society. We welcome people. The motherland, we like people. That's why anybody can join our group. But the steering committee is made up of about 15 people that put their heads together to map up the agenda. But our group is open to everybody because we are Virginians. Also, like Bo said, this is very special to us because Virginia is a special state in the Union. That's why it's called the Commonwealth of Virginia. So we have to behave like people that are called the Commonwealth, because to be a member of the Commonwealth is a privilege. That's why we are working hard so that the voices, collective voices of African diaspora in Virginia is heard, like all other diaspora ethnic groups. They have been longer in the space. That's why they are better known. Not that they can do better than us, because Africans, when we have put our heads together and doing something, we work hard. You can see by Africans that are lately in Commonwealth of Virginia and around, we work hard. So for us, we pay us for our service. An African is ready to, with a PhD, is ready to sweep the streets because we are proud people. But we are not arrogant. We are down to earth. That's why we want to work with every group in the Commonwealth, to lift the Commonwealth up, because this is where we call home now. This is our home now. I have been here for up to 40 years. I came here as a teenager. I've been here for a long time. When I go to, I'm from Nigeria originally, from the Southeast. I'm a proud Igbo woman, a proud Nigerian, a proud American, because every American came from somewhere, except the natives. But right now, I carried a blue passport. I call America home. And we all here on the Zoom, and our brothers and sisters who were not able to join us also call America home and call the Commonwealth of Virginia our home. And we are ready to work with our elected officials. Like my sister Amy said, if they want to hear anything about Uganda, there is Bo to call. About Benin or Cote d'Ivoire, there is Eric. About Ethiopia, there is Amy. About Ghana, there is Ajua, there is Rita. About Guinea, there is Aisha Biro. There are a whole lot of us. About Angola, there is Hamilton. We are all not going to the congressional research to get information or calling somebody on K Street that what he or she knows about Africa is from Google. No. You call because we have been there. We are born, bred, and buttered there before this became our second home. You get an honest opinion. That's why we want the Commonwealth of Virginia and America in general to know about our respective countries, to know about motherland Africa. Thank you.
Well, let me ask one, and Bo, certainly in working with Senator Mark Warner, but others of you may want to answer this too. In the current immigration that's taken place, are there immigrants coming from certain African countries, certain parts of Africa today? I know there's been a lot of discussion at the national level about immigration, about certain numbers of immigrants. What do you all know, not just to pick on Bo because of his role with Senator Warner, but are there folks migrating to the U.S. From Africa here in 2021?
The quick answer to that is, I mean, yes. I know a lot of talk that, I think one thing that the African diaspora community realizes, and I think my fellow steering committee members have talked about this, is just this idea that it's important for the African diaspora to be a part of the table at the table. There are a lot of TPS holders within Virginia who are members of the African diaspora community, which are contributing in terms of jobs, or small business owners are contributing to the society as well. And as we kind of continue to discuss different foreign policy issues that are pertaining to the continent, there are immigrants who are coming to this continent. Again, like I said, the largest kind of new American majority in this country are African diasporans. Particularly, there's a lot of folks from Ethiopia. There's folks from Sudan, as we kind of reimagine and kind of begin our relationship with the Sudanese people. There are a lot of TPS holders from that discussion in Congress. Particularly, I know that we've dealt with Liberia and increasing the amount of TPS holders that are there. But there are folks from across the continent that are coming here. But as folks have said, they call Virginia home. They call the United States home, and they're proud of that. But also want to continue to make sure that the African diaspora voice is there when it's talking about small businesses, when it's talking about immigration, a host of different issues that mean a lot to this community, and that they can be valuable members and provide a lot of great policy insight for.
To add on that, I know a lot of people are rattled and they will be looking to migrate to the US because of the imposed, soon to be imposed sanction on Ethiopia. And people, I'm sure, again, a whole lot of migration is going to start soon. And I just hope and pray that will not happen, the sanction will not happen. But if it does happen, a lot of people will be affected. Therefore, you can definitely imagine that there will be a lot of people trying to come to the United States or wherever else. So, yeah, every action has a reaction, as you know.
Right. Well, as I said at the beginning, I know that we could talk for the afternoon and talk for a much longer time, but I really thank each of you for the start of a conversation, for a start of a learning time for me, and perhaps also Angel, and for our viewers. And we'll make sure that we direct people to connect with you on Facebook or through Twitter, and that we'll make sure that our viewers, whether they are from African descent or otherwise, will know that they can learn about the committee and about what you're doing. I'm sure from the one program that I watched in which you were interviewing candidates that you have the attention of candidates, and as nominees are known, I'm sure you will have the full attention of nominees for statewide office, and I would imagine some of you will be involved in local offices as well, as the members of the House of Delegates are all up for election as well this year. So again, I want to give you my heartfelt thanks, appreciation for taking me in to your Zoom meeting with the Lieutenant Governor candidates, and for your being on this week in Virginia. Angel, I'll let you close with any remarks you have and express your thanks.
Thank you so much. I didn't know anything about the Virginia Diaspora Committee, and I'm grateful to be here at this interview with you guys. So thank you.
Thank you, David and Angel as well for having us.
Well,
Most definitely.
thank you all.
We really appreciate it
very much. Yes.
Thank you for having us. Since you have watched us, I hope you will watch us on Saturday, where we are going to also meet and greet the Attorney General candidates. You know, their decision on legal issues and matters affect all the lives, irrespective of color, gender, or ethnicity in the Commonwealth. So we are going to have them for an hour or two on Saturday by 7 p.m. And I hope you guys will join us also. Thank you.